What is the definition of the word star? I mean, I don't suppose I feel like a star. I feel like a human being, and I have to deal with my life every day and everything. If being a star means that you've been given the opportunities which I have and been allowed to star in movies with marvelous partners directed by great directors, and the happiness and the good fortune it's brought me, then I feel like a star.
In the global marketplace of cinema, Hollywood stands out, not just as a geographical location, but as a beacon of the film industry's aspirations. From its humble origins as a small community in Southern California, Hollywood has evolved into a symbolic site of American cultural influence, an epicenter of technological innovation, and an unwavering force in shaping global entertainment. The story of Hollywood is intricately woven within the threads of technological advancement, economic shifts, political influences, and cultural transformations. It is truly a tale of dreamers, from the directors who utilize the raw potential of motion pictures to the stars whose radiant presence filled the silver screen. Hollywood has always been a mirror reflecting societal changes and an essential sculptor of public perception, pushing boundaries and at times, especially in the early days, reinforcing them. Hello everyone, my name is Nathan Golden, and in this video, I seek to dissect the layers of Hollywood's evolution, examining how it began with the simplistic yet revolutionary introduction of moving images, and grew into a complex industry that now dominates the cultural landscape. With this video, I intend to provide a comprehensive understanding of how Hollywood has continuously reinvented itself to maintain its position at the forefront of the global media industry. This analysis will not only reflect on Hollywood's impact on popular culture, but also consider its role in the manufacturing of stories that has profoundly influenced America's social fabric and that of the world at large. It's a propaganda machine. I don't know what else you want me to say. Roll the first part. The origins of Hollywood as a film industry powerhouse are deeply rooted in the latter part of the 19th and 20th century, a period categorized by rapid technological advancement and an expanding appetite for entertainment among the American populace. The invention of the motion picture camera transformed entertainment, turning film into a novel and accessible form of amusement that captured the masses. Initially, these films were short scenes, often just a few minutes long, viewed in penny arcades and Nickelodeons, small theaters named for their admission price of just a nickel. Hollywood's rise began when mainly Jewish filmmakers started to seek new locations that offered not only diverse scenery suitable for various film backdrops, but also freedom from the restrictive patents held by the Motion Picture Patents Company controlled by Thomas Edison in New Jersey. The mild climate of Southern California, with its reliable sunshine and varied landscape, proved ideal. This geographical shift was pivotal, transforming Hollywood from a suburb of Los Angeles into the capital of the film industry by the 1910s. Key figures in this migration included pioneers like D.W. Griffith, whose groundbreaking film The Birth of a Nation, although extremely controversial, I mean, I cannot preface this more, it's so controversial, showcased the potential of film as a medium for complex narratives with enormous emotional and political impact. This film not only demonstrated the possibilities of cinematic storytelling, but also its powerful ability to influence public opinion, for better or worse. As the number of films produced in Hollywood increased, a more structured system of production emerged. The studio system, which would dominate Hollywood for decades, began to take shape. Major studios like Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Warner Bros., Paramount, and 20th Century Fox established themselves as film industry royalty, controlling all aspects of the filmmaking process, from production to distribution to exhibition. These studios constructed giant studio lots where they would create elaborate sets and control every minute detail of the production environment. The studio system also saw the birth of the star system, where actors were contracted exclusively to studios, becoming major marketing tools. Icons like Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, and later Clara Bow and Rudolph Valentino were among the first to achieve this superstar status, drawing crowds with their mere presence in a film. The transition from silent films to talkies marked another revolutionary step. The Jazz Singer, produced by Warner Bros., was the first feature-length motion picture with synchronized dialogue sequences. This film signified the decline of silent films and set the new standard for cinema, fundamentally changing how films were produced and consumed. These early decades were not just about technological and business innovations, they were also about setting the cultural tone for what Hollywood would become. It was a period of immense creativity and experimentation, laying down the foundational narratives and mythologies that would define American cinema. As Hollywood grew, it began to reflect and construct the American dream, packaging it within compelling stories and selling it not only to the US audience, but to the entire world. Through its films, Hollywood began its long journey of becoming a global cultural icon, shaping and being shaped by the society around it. The golden age of Hollywood, which spanned from the 1930s to the early 1960s, is often revered as the pinnacle of cinematic excellence and star-powered glamour. During this era, the film industry perfected the art of movie making, especially establishing a formula that combined star power, genre diversity, and narrative complexity to mass-produce films that appealed to the broadest possible audience. The studios, under the studio system, operated on a factory-like basis that were able to produce art of truly remarkable quality. Genres were established and refined during this period, with musicals, westerns, dramas, and comedies emerging as staples that drew in diverse audiences. Innovation in sound and color technology, such as Technicolor, enhanced the visual and auditory appeal of these films, making the cinema-going experience truly immersive. A pivotal key to the success of the Golden Age was the star system, which I mentioned before. Turned actors into major box office draws. Stars like Humphrey Bogart, Bette Davis, Audrey Hepburn, and Clark Gable became household names. Their images were carefully crafted and controlled by the studios that they were signed to. Their films were events. Their private lives were picked apart by fan magazines, but most importantly, their names guaranteed a film's commercial success. The Hays Code, formerly the Motion Picture Production Code, was introduced in 1934 as a set of moral guidelines for the creation of motion pictures. The code was a direct response to the perceived immorality of films in the late 1920s and early 1930s. It dictated what was acceptable and what was not in films, prohibiting nudity, the depiction of interracial relationships, and the glorification of crime, among other things. The code had a profound impact on the content and narrative of Hollywood films. Filmmakers were forced to become more creative with their storytelling, often using innuendo and subtext to address themes that were forbidden by the code. This led to a unique style of filmmaking that was both sophisticated and layered, appealing to adults while satisfying the censors. Despite these restrictions, the Hays Code coincided with a period of great creativity in Hollywood. Although this creativity was not extended to any filmmakers other than rich white men. Filmmakers like Alfred Hitchcock, Orson Welles, and Billy Wilder turned constraints into opportunities, crafting films that were rich in symbolism and nuance. Movies such as Casablanca, Citizen Kane, and Double Indemnity. I can't say that word. Indemnity? Oh my god, I can't say that word. I can't English today. Not only complied with the code, but flourished under its rule, offering audiences complex characters and moral dilemmas that resonated on multiple levels. The end of the Golden Age began as television became more popular in the 1950s, and the studio system started to break down. This led to a decrease in film attendance and the eventual relaxation of the Hays Code, paving the way for a new era of Hollywood filmmaking. However, the Golden Age had established a model of studio efficiency and star charisma that continues to influence the film industry to this day. It epitomizes a period when Hollywood films were at their most glamorous, innovative, and culturally significant.
What are you looking at?
The 1960s marked a significant turning point in Hollywood's history, as the once dominant studio system began to crumble under the pressure of changing societal attitudes, economic challenges, and competition from television. The era of contractual star systems and strict studio control over film production started to fade, giving way to a more independent and director-driven model. This shift was influenced by the growing popularity of European cinema, particularly the French New Wave, which emphasized personal expression and broke away from conventional storytelling. The decline of the studio system also coincided with a cultural revolution across America, fueled by the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and the youth culture at the time. Hollywood responded to these changes by taking more risks and addressing more controversial subjects. The period saw the emergence of filmmakers who would come to define this new era, including Stanley Kubrick, Roman Polanski, and later people like Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, and Steven Spielberg, whose works pushed narrative and technical boundaries. During this transformative period, Hollywood also felt the influence of global cinema, which was itself undergoing significant changes. Filmmakers in Italy, Japan, and France, like I just mentioned, were redefining the art of film, impacting American directors and audiences. This global cross-pollination encouraged more innovative storytelling and techniques, such as non-linear narratives, as existential themes, and a focus on a character's psychology, all of which were hallmarks of the New Hollywood movement. The New Hollywood era, spanning the late 1960s to the early 1980s, was characterized by films that dealt with more serious and realistic themes, such as war, corruption, and social disillusionment. Iconic films like The Godfather, Taxi Driver, and Apocalypse Now exemplified this trend, offering darker and more introspective looks at human nature and American culture. These films, driven by visionary directors and complex characters, redefined what Hollywood movies could be and set new standards for artistic achievement in cinema. Simultaneously, the late 1970s and 80s saw the rise of the blockbuster film model, which would come to dominate the industry in the later decades. The success of Jaws and Star Wars marked the beginning of this shift, demonstrating the immense commercial potential for high concept, special effects driven films that appealed to a wide audience. This approach not only revitalized the box office sales, but also shifted Hollywood's focus towards franchise building and merchandising, laying the groundwork for the modern film industry economic model. The late 20th and early 21st century signaled a profound transformation in filmmaking through the adoption of digital technologies. The introduction of digital cameras and computer-generated imagery, CGI, fundamentally altered the aesthetics and practices of film production. It democratized the process and enhanced creative possibilities. The transition from film to digital cameras marked a significant shift in how movies were shot and produced. Digital cameras became widely available in the late 1990s and early 2000s. This offered filmmakers greater flexibility, reduced costs, and the ability to shoot in low-light conditions without the grain associated with high-speed film cameras. This technology also allowed for immediate playback, enabling directors and cinematographers to make quicker adjustments and experiment more freely during shoots. CGI also transformed the visual landscape of cinema, allowing filmmakers to create scenes and effects that would have been otherwise impossible or prohibitively expensive with practical effects. From spectacular landscapes in epic fantasies to intricate action sequences in sci-fi movies, CGI expanded the filmmaker's canvas. Films like Jurassic Park and Avatar showcase the potential of CGI to create realistic and immersive alternate realities, pushing the boundaries of the audience's expectation and the cinematic experience. As significant as the changes in production have been, perhaps even more impactful was the shift in how films were distributed and consumed. The rise of digital distribution channels and streaming platforms have dramatically altered the traditional cinema model. The digital era has seen a move away from physical film copies to digital distribution, significantly lowering the costs and increasing the speed of distribution. This shift has been crucial for independent filmmakers who now have access to a global audience without the need for heavyweight distribution deals. Digital distribution has also facilitated a greater diversity of content, as niche films that might not have been commercially viable in a traditional theatrical model can now find audiences online. Platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Max have revolutionized the film industry by offering extensive libraries of movies and TV shows on demand. This convenience has changed viewer habits dramatically, with binge watching becoming the new norm. These platforms have become significant players in the industry, producing their own content and competing with traditional studios and television networks for audience share. While streaming services have become new opportunities for content producers and choices for consumers, they have also posed challenges to traditional movie theaters and box office revenue. The ease of access to films online has led to a decline in cinema attendance, especially among the younger demographics, reshaping the economic landscape of the film industry. The global reach of streaming platforms has immensely influenced filmmaking itself, with an increased emphasis on producing content that appeals across cultural and geographic boundaries. I do believe I must make a clarification that it is highly unlikely movie theaters are going anywhere. They still remain a crucial part of the movie making industry and still rake in billions of dollars of revenue each year. Hollywood films have long served as a mirror reflecting societal values and norms, but they have also played a significant role in shaping those norms, particularly in the terms of race and social issues like LGBTQ+ rights and environmental awareness. Historically, Hollywood's portrayal of racial minorities has often been problematic, characterized by stereotypes, underrepresentation, and at times flat out racism. This issue extends across representations of various racial and ethnic groups, each facing unique stereotypes and challenges within the industry. Black characters were frequently relegated to supporting roles or were depicted as caricatures in early cinema, a practice that persisted into the mid-20th century. Films like The Birth of a Nation that I mentioned earlier in the video not only employed racist portrayals, but also glorified the Ku Klux Klan, influencing societal perceptions of black people and intensifying racial tension. For much of Hollywood's history, Native Americans were portrayed primarily in westerns. These films often depicted them as savages or obstacles to the civilized white protagonists. These roles not only enforced harmful stereotypes, but also erased the diverse cultures and histories of Native American tribes. Films like Stagecoach and The Searchers, while critically acclaimed, were also critiqued for their simplistic and negative portrayal of Native Americans. The same is true for the portrayal of Hispanic and Latino characters in Hollywood. We have often been confined to stereotypical roles that cast as criminals, immigrants, or sources of comedic relief. These portrayals have long perpetuated a limited and many times derogatory view of a diverse and culturally rich diaspora of people. Asian Americans have often faced a tough situation in Hollywood where they're either overlooked or stuck in these stereotypical roles. Historically, they have been cast in parts that make them seem like outsiders, either as villains or damsels in distress. Classic stereotypes, like the Kung Fu Master and the mysterious exotic dragon lady, are common, and these roles distort the true diversity of Asian identities and can encourage harmful stereotypes. This issue is made worse by Hollywood's habit of whitewashing, casting white actors in Asian roles. This practice hurts the authenticity of stories that should celebrate diversity. Well-known instances of this include Tilda Swinton playing the Ancient One in Doctor Strange and Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell. Now, while I both adore these two ladies very, very much, their acting is out of this world, but both of these castings were widely criticized and sparked renewed discussions about the need for better racial representation in movies. However, significant strides have been made, particularly in recent years, as films like Black Panther, Crazy Rich Asians, and shows like Reservation Dogs and Ugly Betty have demonstrated the immense commercial and critical success of movies and TV shows that feature a diverse cast and culturally rich narratives. These films not only challenge long-standing stereotypes, but also provide a more inclusive platform for storytelling. Hollywood has gradually taken a more robust approach to addressing various social issues through its films. Movies have the unique power to influence public opinion and bring attention to critical societal problems. However, Hollywood's approach to social issues has not been without its shortcomings. Films addressing social issues have often been accused of tokenism, where marginalized characters are included in a superficial manner without meaningful development or narrative significance. This can result in stories that feel performative rather than genuinely committed to the social justice. Hollywood has also sometimes been criticized for exploiting social issues for commercial gain without a true commitment to change. Films that tackle topics like racism, LGBTQ plus rights, police brutality, and environmental justice can sometimes come across as checking a box rather than genuinely engaging with the complexities of these issues. This superficial treatment can dilute the impact of these films and undermine their potential to drive meaningful societal change. Despite these challenges, there have been notable successes in Hollywood's engagement with social issues. Movies like Philadelphia and Brokeback Mountain have played significant roles in shaping public discourse around LGBTQ+ rights, offering nuanced portrayals of gay characters and their struggles in a society that often marginalizes them. These films help humanize LGBTQ+ people, fostering empathy and understanding among broader audiences. The film industry has also tackled issues of social justice and inequality. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing is a seminal work that addresses racial tensions and police brutality, remaining relevant decades after its release. More recently, films like Get Out and Sorry to Bother You have used genre storytelling to explore themes of racism and economic disparity, pushing the boundaries of traditional narrative forms to engage audiences in critical conversations. Environmental issues have also found a place in Hollywood narratives. Films such as Erin Brockovich and An Inconvenient Truth have raised awareness about environmental injustices and the urgent need for action on climate change. These films highlight the power of individual and collective action in addressing global challenges, inspiring audiences to consider their own roles in fostering environmental stability. Despite these advancements, ongoing challenges remain in Hollywood's representation practices. Like I said before, tokenism, typecasting, and the economic pressure that often limit risk-taking in favor of proven formulas. The industry continues to grapple with balancing commercial success with social responsibility. Films like The Hate U Give and Promising Young Women exemplify the potential for cinema to address pressing social issues while still achieving critical and commercial success. However, the truest test lies in Hollywood's ability to consistently and authentically represent the diverse experiences and identities that make up our society, moving beyond superficial gestures towards a more inclusive and equitable future. Hollywood's influence extends beyond entertainment, impacting American culture and global perceptions of said culture. Films not only reflect societal values, but also shape them, contributing to cultural change by presenting new ideas and perspectives. Hollywood has always had a profound impact on American culture, shaping everything from fashion and public speech to social attitudes and norms. Films like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner challenged America's views on interracial marriage during a time when it was still illegal in many states, while The Day After influenced the public and policymakers alike with its graphic depiction of a nuclear aftermath during the Cold War. Hollywood's global reach means that its films play a significant role in shaping how cultures perceive each other. While this can promote understanding and empathy, it can also promote harmful stereotypes and cultural imperialism. Nevertheless, films like Slumdog Millionaire and Parasite show a growing acceptance and appreciation for non-Western narratives, indicating a shift towards a more inclusive global cinema. Through its films, Hollywood not only entertains, but also educates. It motivates and it inspires change, making it a pivotal element in the ongoing dialogue about society and culture. The exploration of Hollywood's well-documented history reveals an industry that has consistently evolved, adapted to technological innovations, participated in changing social norms, and even shifted economic landscapes. From its early days as a haven from the restrictive patents of the East Coast to its current state as a global cultural cornerstone, Hollywood has mirrored and molded societal values and ideologies, reflecting the dreams, fears, and aspirations of each generation of filmmakers. Today, Hollywood stands at a crossroads, grappling with the many implications of digital disruption, as well as the increased demand for greater diversity and authenticity in representation. With the rise of streaming services, traditional distribution models have been challenged, bringing way more complications. With global audiences demanding stories that resonate universally, Hollywood is likely to see more and more international filmmakers vying for their throne. As Hollywood continues to evolve and adapt to the current wave of change, its role as a cultural powerhouse still remains undisputed. The films produced by Hollywood continue to influence not only American culture, but also global perceptions and values. Hollywood's ability to constantly innovate itself ensures that it will remain at the forefront of the entertainment industry. But how it navigates the complexities of modern societal issues will determine its relevancy and leadership in the upcoming decades. In essence, Hollywood's future will likely be defined not just by how well it entertains, but by how it effectively engages with the pressing issues of our time: diversity, equality, and inclusion. Hollywood's story is far from over. It is merely just entering a new chapter within its legacy. If you've made it this far in the video, that we have reached... Oh, sorry, Mike. Oh, don't... Be nice. Be nice. Sorry, I gotta fix that. If you made it this far, we have come to the end of my dissection of the Hollywood system and its evolution. I first came up with the concept for this video essay when I was visiting LA earlier this year, and it was my first time in the city, and it really gave me a fresh perspective on the history of Hollywood. I mean, it's such a rich history there. So much has happened there. So many people and ideas and experiences are there, and I just enjoyed so much of it, so I wanted to make a video essay kind of dissecting that a little bit. So if you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, but also comment down below. I want to know you guys' opinions on what I said. Do you have any other additional things to add? Or, you know, if you have any suggestions for future videos or anything, I'm always open to receiving those. I also wanted to say thank you so much for the love on my last video. I got so much love from that. I got like 500 views in just a couple days, which is like insane for me. I can't even be... Thank you so much. It gives me so much more courage to keep going and to keep making these videos and continuing on my YouTube journey. So, I will shut up now. I have talked way too much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Mwah. Bye.